Get a part-time job, and then when they get hit with their fees and their dues 24 months later, because that's when you got to re-up, they're like, no, I'm out. There's a lot of agents that are unwilling to have extreme ownership when it comes to where their business is at, and it's always somebody else's fault.
You might be able to trick yourself into, oh, the market's bad, rates are bad, nobody's buying.
These leads suck.
Yeah, Kamala's the worst, Trump's the worst, this sucks. Elections, nobody buys during election season. But all of a sudden you come in here and you're like, oh, Erica just put 2 under contract. Tony has 3 more listings. Jake has this. Boo has this. This person has this. There's deals everywhere.
And after that lovely intro, we are officially live. Hey, look at us.
We have an intro video now.
This kind of feels official now.
Yes.
Look at us acting like we actually do this for a living. My name is Boo Maddox, team lead of the Perry Group here in Utah County. Super excited to be here. Before we introduce Tony Acosta, who needs no introduction, reminder, you guys, don't be a part of the 70%. Don't be a part of the 70% that are doing 4 or less transactions a year. And don't be a part of the 70% that are viewing but are not subscribed to the channel.
Absolutely. If you're new here, my name is Tony Acosta. I'm a principal broker, and I am a member of the Forbes Real Estate Council. Super excited about this concept. If you're new here, we're going to go over some things that agents say on social media, give our 2 cents. We have an intro video now. We're feeling good. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. These are going to get kind of personal for you today.
They are. I'm excited.
Let's go. Number 1, Tingy. So this can be, it says best real estate catchphrase that you have seen. I want to go 2 ways with this.
Okay.
Best real estate catchphrase that you have seen, and the one that drives you up the wall that you feel like is just way too prevalent in our industry.
So I'll start with the one that drives me crazy, which was the marry the house, date the rate.
Oh.
That was bad advice.
I was guilty of that one once.
That was bad advice. That was bad advice. I'm dealing with the repercussions of that advice right now. There are a lot of people that did that, and now they thought rates were going to tank.
Now they need a divorce.
At least from the house.
Yeah.
But that was, in my opinion, that was really, really bad advice. You were banking on a massive interest rate dip. It just hasn't happened yet. Has it improved? Yes, but not to the degree where people are seeing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars in savings if they refinance. Not to mention that if you did a down payment assistance, if you did, at least here in Utah housing loan, you're probably upside down because you just bought it, whatever it was ago, 8 months ago, a year ago. So refi may not even be an option for you in that scenario. So marry the house, date the rate, terrible advice.
Any ones who you like?
It's actually not very many.
I was trying to think of this, like when I saw best one that I've seen, I was like, there's none that stands out.
There's
I have
really
2
not.
that bug me to no
Shoot.
end right now. Everything I touch turns to sold.
Oh, that's a bad one.
Overdone. Stop. Doesn't need to be anywhere on your marketing ever.
It's not an Instagram bio.
It's not an Instagram bio.
It's not a rider. It's not on your listing signs.
And the other one, and I think that this one bugs me because it's overused, but it's also just tacky. Mm-hmm. It's just tacky, and I think that people are doing it to check the box. The greatest compliment is a referral.
Yes.
That's not asking for referrals.
Agents, we got to get rid of these nasty pickup lines.
Yeah, you're using these pickup lines in lieu of actually picking up the phone and calling somebody and saying, hey, Tony, who do you have that I need to work with? I want a couple more awesome people just like you. Help your friend out here. The greatest compliment is a referral. And that works? That's what you think you have to do.
But that's why I think we can't find any good pickup lines, because it's never a pickup line.
No.
It's a full conversation that is subjective. Everybody's a little bit different. So there is no awesome pickup line that's going to land you the chick at the bar. Life doesn't work like that. Real estate doesn't work like that. Sorry to break it to you, you're not slick.
This is a relationship game.
Yes.
We talked about that a ton yesterday. This is a relationship-based industry. You have 2 jobs. Number 1, you have to build and establish those relationships, and then you have to maintain those relationships. There is no shortcut. There is no one line fits all to actually get that accomplished. So
Stop.
I hate them all.
Stop trying to sleep with people.
Take it off your business card. Take it out of your Instagram bio. Stop saying it.
Burn it, call the police.
Next one, T. Let's keep this going.
All right, appraisal came in low. Oof. And I'm terrified to give my client the news. I can't have them cancel this deal. What do I do? Tough situation. I've been in that situation.
I think anybody that's done this for a minute has been in this situation.
I felt that early on. It's like, the deal is done. It's gone. It's slipping through my fingers. I need this money. What do I do? Talk to me.
2 pieces of advice. Number 1, revamp your business so that your entire business is not beholden to one transaction closing. you're in this spot and it's gonna be very difficult for you to hear the advice. I get it completely when you feel like the one deal you have going is about to cancel, but you have put yourself in a very vulnerable spot. The vulnerable spot that you're in now is how do you actually represent that buyer as their fiduciary in this situation when you are more fixated on what your fiduciary duty to yourself is. That's the tough spot that this agent is finding them in. So step one, revamp your business, throw it out with the bathwater because this is not working currently. Figure out a way to make it so that you are not beholden to one deal closing. Number two, I think this is why so many agents get such a bad name in our business and in our industry. We are so quick on the phones. The second that appraisal comes in $1,000 high, congratulations, Tony, you have $1,000 in equity. If you are that afraid to make the hard phone calls, probably get out of this job. You are going to have more of the difficult phone calls than you are going to have the easy phone calls. Now, are there ways to make those difficult phone calls go easier? Yes, absolutely. Don't ever call this buyer back without having a solution ready to go in hand. Hey, I sent the appraiser over a couple of comps. Here's what we're doing to challenge it. I've spoken to the listing agent. I let them know that the appraisal came in low, so we're probably going to have to do some negotiating if you want this transaction to go through. But if you are just calling just to deliver the bad news and say, what do you want to do?
Yes.
You're going to be in a tough spot in this business.
Yeah, and I think this agent is making some assumptions. To kind of piggyback on your point a little bit, they're making some assumptions that nothing can be negotiated. They're making assumptions
that the deal's dead.
That the deal is dead. And so don't make those assumptions. But also, I think that if you have proper communication throughout, there shouldn't be that many surprises. Like the client should know these are the possibilities. We're doing an appraisal. It could have come in high, could have come in at value, it could have come in low. These are the implications of what each of these different scenarios mean. Here's how we might go after or solve some of these issues. So if you do some of the prep work with this agent, without a doubt, it's going to be a massive surprise for the buyer. The buyer has no idea. They're scared. They don't want to bring extra money. So agents, work on your communication skills. That's point number one. And point number two, as you mentioned, here's where I really see the value of a team that can provide you leads, even if they come at an expensive split, because it can get you out of this situation. Because yes, I've been there. I'm empathetic to that. I have felt the one deal falling through your fingers, and that's your mortgage payment, that's your car payment. So if you can get yourself out of those scenarios through a team and not fall victim to the objection of, oh, it's because the split's too high. Yeah. Split's too high. Well, what does it accomplish? Now you have 3, 4, 5, 6 deals in the pipeline. When this happens, you can view it in a different lens. You can actually solve the problem, and you still have some deal flow, even if it's an expensive split.
Well, not only that, but you're going to have way more experience in the process. It's not going to be, from the sounds of this is the first time an agent has ever had an appraisal come in low. If that's the case, you are in such a rough spot because how is that phone call going to go with that consumer?
You don't know the scripting. You don't know what to say. You don't know the implications.
You don't know the solution to get out of it. You don't know how to have that conversation. So it's a...
That's a good point.
Guess what? Tony, I have some bad news.
In that case, you should be terrified.
You should be terrified. You absolutely should be terrified. If you had to guess, is this agent a part of the 70% or the 30%?
They're not selling much at all.
They're not selling much at all.
They're not selling much at all.
They're having 2 real estate conversations a quarter. I love you. Come join the team. But having said that, you got to figure out how to up your skill level, your communication skill level, your standard operating procedures, because you should have been aware of this before that appraisal was even ordered.
For sure.
You should have known about it, and you should have already had your solutions in place prior to that appraiser delivering what you're perceiving as bad news. If I'm calling my buyer, I'm calling saying, Tony, great news. I guarantee you this seller does not want to go back to market with this property, and the appraisal just came in $10,000 low. I want to let you know it's low, but I am calling that listing agent as soon as I hang up with you, and I am telling them my buyers are not bringing in that extra $10,000. This is to me...
Context, is it a win, is it a loss?
To me, this just gave you all of the negotiating power because it's not your opinion on the market. Whose opinion is it? The appraisers, and their opinion carries a lot of weight in this transaction.
It absolutely does. And even though we need this content for the show, agents, don't put this on social.
Stop. Please stop.
Ask your broker.
Keep going. Thank you.
I mean, keep doing, but I mean, think about it from the consumer's perspective. Let's say there are people in his SOI or their SOI that follows them on Threads or whatever, and they see this post.
They see our YouTube video.
What are you doing? All right, next up.
Roll it, Tiggy. We're going to get personal with Tony here because for a long time, this dude ran 1% list. This dude was the enemy for a long time. So we're going to ask him, now that you're on the light side of the force, let's figure out how you would approach this. But the other agent said that they would list it for
1%.
1%. That was your stigma for a long time. How do you respond? This is the third time I have lost to a discount agent. To that, Tony Acosta, who was a discount agent, says.
So here's the thing. My pitch was, I will do everything any other agent will do for less. That was my pitch, right? I didn't have videographers. I had basic photography. Everything was super, super, super basic. So my pitch was, if you have me and you have the other agent and we're doing the same thing with the same support, one agent by yourself, I'm gonna win. So if you want to charge more money, you need to have something. You need to have a team. You need to have professional videography. You need to have something. You need to have some value prop beyond just the basics. So in our case, with these Saratoga Springs homes with cable construction, doing the broker opens, bringing 50 to 60 agents through the door, making content, being able to have open houses three times a week. I couldn't do that at 1% list because it was just me. It was a one-man show. And not only that, but it was during pandemic season, which there was no skill involved. So
you had to get a sign up.
They're two different, even I didn't do that, right? Yeah. But there were two different planets that we were dealing with. This is not COVID planet. Like it's completely different. You need an elevated skill set and you need support behind you. But without a doubt, that was my pitch. I was banking on all agents do the exact same thing. Nobody has anything special. I just do it for less. And it worked. It was a pitch that worked. And I took a lot of business from agents that were not willing to negotiate their commission, knowing they were doing the basics.
So how do you fight this person then? Because these people, even though you left the market, these people, you sold the agency still exists here in Utah today, just like it does in any other market. You now have how many listings active today?
11.
With how many pending?
3.
What's the lowest you're taking on one of those?
2.
So
it's
now
a very special case.
So that's the exception, not the rule anymore. Right. Yep. You are now getting more listings, charging more. How do you do that?
So what I always tell agents, it kind of depends where you're at in your career. If you're new and there's a discount listing or you have a seller in front of you that only wants to pay 1%, if you feel that you can leverage that listing to farm the neighborhood, maybe if they want to buy another property, so you're going to get another deal on the back end, then maybe you have that conversation and you can be smart about it. If you're a more experienced agent, then you pitch your value and maybe at that point you're willing to walk away. In my case now, I leverage the team. I show them the content. We have videographers. I can have agents here. If you want to do an open house every day, I got you. We're going to bring agents through the door. So now they understand they're not just buying me, they're buying an entire machine. We have a graphic design department. We have the mailers that we can do. There's an infinite amount of things that we can do beyond the basics that I used to sell. So that's always my pitch. But it's tough for a lot of agents when they're in the situation of scarcity, when they don't have a lot of deals. So I get it. What I would say is that if you're going to negotiate your commission, if you're going to drop it, make sure you have the skill set to turn it into more deals. That's the only way that it makes sense. So be strategic about it. If there's a $3 million house in Park City that only wants to pay 1%, maybe I take that, build some relationships in the area. Of course, so be strategic about it. Don't be romantic as to, oh, nobody knows my value. Like, get rid of that. Be strategic. Be a business person. But without a doubt, if you have something behind that you can sell that brings true value to the seller, don't be ashamed to sell that.
So let's be brutally honest here for a second, Mr. Agent. You've lost 3 of these deals to listing agents that are charging 1%. So
to me.
Let's actually, to you.
I did all the time.
So let's explain what actually happened. If you're scrolling on Amazon and you see one product and you see the exact same product right below it, and one of them is 3 times more expensive than the other one, which one are you buying?
Depends on the reviews.
Okay, let's say that they are the same product, the same everything. Cheaper one?
In most cases.
In most cases. That's what these consumers just did to you, Agent Anonymous. You currently are offering the exact same thing that somebody else is offering, and they're able to do it for 1/3 of the price. So you have 2 choices. Do you want to drop your price, or do you want to add to the bag of skills and resources that you can pull from, so that when you say, hey, yes, I am more expensive, but let me explain to you why, you'll win those.
So I think the punchline is, if you want to charge premium prices, build premium products. If you want to charge premium prices, build premium products. If you want to be a discount agent, fine. Again, I did it. It was fine. It was very basic. So that's up to you.
Roll it, Tangy.
I want to break into the luxury market, but I don't know any rich people. How do agents do it? I feel like this is the wet dream of every real estate agent.
luxury market.
Yes.
Everybody
100%.
wants to be a luxury
Everybody
agent.
wants to be a luxury agent. I don't know any rich people. What do I do? How do I make friends with rich people that can ask me to list their property? How do you make friends with rich people, my guy?
I don't know. I'm not a luxury agent. No, like I think that you are absolutely correct. There are so many agents that are like, I want to be in the luxury market.
Man, it's the wet
And the
dream.
dumb part is the amount of time that they spend going after a $2 million luxury listing. They could have had 5 $500,000 listings and closed more volume.
Yeah.
So I think first we got to kind of get out of this mindset that luxury is the end all be all. I made 7 figures selling, and the majority, my average price point was $500,000. I made my money, my bread and butter was always a townhome product. So you got to just figure out, okay, is that actually the business that I want to be in? Number 2, you need to understand, we talked about this a little bit earlier, a couple of days ago. The people that you are trying to compete with in the luxury market are not your average agents. Nobody just falls into luxury. Nobody breaks into luxury. Nobody accidentally stumbles upon luxury as a business model. So you need to understand that the demographic of agents that you are going up against are hitters. They are killers. They are people that you better come ready or you are going to lose for the next 3 to 4 years. But if you want to get into it, I think the practices and the methodology are the same. Start throwing open houses in those areas, start knocking doors in those areas, start farming those areas, but understand if it takes you 6 months to start landing $500,000 listings through farming, it's going to take you 3 or 4 years to land one luxury listing because of 2 things. Number 1, it just takes more time, I think, to break into that. And number 2, your skill set is, on average, if you haven't cracked into it, is not the same. I have sold more houses than probably the majority of people that will watch this. I still don't feel comfortable walking into a luxury listing competing with a Michael Perry.
Yeah. And here's the thing, guys. A lot of this real estate thing comes down to networking. A lot of it is who do you know? And so what I would say is if you want to gradually build your skill set to become a luxury agent and you want to get into those rooms, you have to build the foundation first. So the way I did that is just serve the people that are in your community. The people that you rub shoulders with, the people that go to the same school as your kids, the people you go to church with, the people the people in your community, even if those are $350,000 condos, that's where you build the skill set. I think this idea of, hey, I'm not a rich person. I want to go meet rich people, befriend rich people so that I can sell rich people properties. I think you're setting yourself up for failure. So if all of a sudden now you build that skill set, now you have a massive book of business, or now you have some experience where you can sit down and say, hey, I've sold 300 homes in the past. Well, maybe now that's something that a rich person might consider. Maybe now that's something where you can start to get into some of these networking groups, meet people, but now you have something. If you're a rookie in the league and you want to go talk to LeBron James, that's going to be difficult to do. And not only, I think, are you setting yourself up for failure, but also those can be big mental health hits to where, I mean, some of those people don't want to talk to you, my guy.
Yeah.
They just don't want to talk to you. And so build the skill set, build the foundation. Can you get there? Absolutely. But be patient, start in your community with your people, and then build.
And here's one last little tip. If you're wanting to get into this, have a little bit of paying attention to the future. And what I mean by that is that the stuff that is trading at luxury prices today was not trading at luxury prices 5 years ago. So in our market, Highland Alpine, the most expensive, wealthiest zip code in Utah, when my parents bought there 25 years ago, they paid $329 for an acre and 5,000 square feet.
It was not
Today
a luxury
it sells
product.
for $2 million. It was not a luxury product.
That's a good point.
So go and find your markets that are not currently luxury today, that are easier to break into and probably don't have the same level of representation that a luxury market does. Plan out not just 1 or 2 years in the future, but plan out 3 to 5 years in the future. Let the appreciation come, and all of a sudden you were already there before it became luxury. You'll continue to stay there.
And you know what I found, last thing, but before we go, with luxury, we often think that by reducing the commission, that's going to be the hook. When you have $1 million in equity, my guy,
They don't care.
They don't care.
And if you're buying a $3 million house in cash,
It doesn't matter.
If you are the person, they will pay you.
They'll pay you. So it's about value, it's about skill set, it's about knowledge, it's about representation, it's about being competent. They don't necessarily care about your discount. That's why 1% list never represented a luxury buyer or seller. That's why. Is that it?
That's it.
That was solid.
Don't be part of the 70%. Subscribe.